Today on Kory's Rides, we're going to open up this package here. Inside we've got an Indian eFTR Jr motorcycle. It's a 650 watt electric motorcycle, so we'll go ahead and get this open and see what's inside, see what we have to put together. So it appears to come mostly assembled. It looks like we just got to put the number plates, front wheel, and handlebars on it. We got the handlebar clamps here. Front axle, charger, owner's manual, and this is actually a Razor scooter. And from the research I did, it's closely related to their MX650. But if you can find one, the MX650s are basically the same price as these, or this Indian is about $100 more. But the place I went to, they had about 8 of these out on the floor, and they had 2 in boxes. These seem to be easier to get versus the Razor MX650. Also, from what I've seen, these have a longer run time. With the dual modes, you can run 140 minutes on low or 65 minutes on high. Which, like, again, from what I found online, these run a lot longer, so it might be worth that extra $100 to pick one of these up versus a Razor. But I mean, as you can see, it says right there, Razor. But I mean, plus it looks so cool, you know. We've also got a tool kit. Not that I need it, but for the average consumer buying this for their kids, you know, maybe they don't have all these wrenches and stuff, so that's handy. I'm gonna try and put it together with this just because. All right, pretty simple. We're gonna put the handlebar clamps on first. Put the handlebars on. Comes with all the tools you need. Go ahead and open this package here, which has the handlebar clamps in it. It's going to use one of the Allen wrenches that came with it. I'm going to go ahead and swing the camera over here. So if you're not familiar with motorcycles, the throttle goes on the right, which would be this thing here. And this whole grip doesn't turn, just this part turns. And the reason for that, I'm assuming, is so kids don't get whiskey throttle and panic and go shooting off into the distance or out into the weeds. So we're going to go ahead and there's some markings on the bars here, kind of serrations, and that is for the clamp. Something to give it a little bit of purchase, something for it to grip onto. Let's see here. I think I got this. Got to twist this around a little bit so the controls go out the front like that. You want all these wires curved around the front of the bike. So we'll go ahead and put this clamp on, the spacer underneath it, and that goes right into the triple clamps, or the top part of the steering here. Just get those loosely started. And we'll go ahead and grab the other one. Same deal. Go ahead and make sure that the serrations are in there, and then now you can pull these back or push them forward depending on the height of your kid. I'm just going to kind of set them somewhere neutral, and once my daughter's with me, I will set it up specifically to suit her. So you just kind of evenly snug these down, and you don't have to go wild. I mean, if you actually leave it so in a crash this will move a little bit, you have less chance of damaging the bars. Because I'm sure you could just get some generic kids motorcycle bar to put on here, but you know, with all the controls and stuff, I'd hate to try and retrofit some sort of aftermarket handlebar onto this. And notice I'm not using the key the other way. I've got pretty decent grip strength, but if you're cranking on it with it this way, you're probably putting too much pressure on it, because those bars are not going anywhere. The next thing you're going to want to do is snug up the brakes. And this is probably something you're going to want to do with the kid that's going to be riding it. But in general, if they're just a little bit downward of level, that's generally the most comfortable. Again, just using the short end to tighten it. Don't have to get crazy. If they can move in a crash, they're less likely to break, because these are plastic brake levers. So just be careful of that. They want you to charge that battery 12 hours before the first use. Don't store it below freezing, etc., etc. Okay, next up is the front tire. You'll need that axle and the 2 bigger wrenches that came with the kit. You notice I've been using the box to keep it upright so far, and it's been very helpful. So now, this is the part where you might need a second person, or just lay it down on the cardboard, something like that, to get this next step done. So this plastic piece that the forks were resting on just pulls right out. Then go ahead and take the hardware off of here. 2 spacers, 2 washers, nut and a bolt. This front tire is directional, so you see there's right here, there's a little arrow, tells you which way it rotates. Line that up. And then this is the part where it's handy to have a second person. Or what you can do is start your axle through here, the washer on. Start the axle through here, put one of your spacers on, and then lift the bike. And then put the tire in through there. So another way you can do it is just kind of balance it on the rear tire. I got my foot keeping it from moving. Again, probably best if you do it with 2 people. Make sure your brake caliper lines up. Spacer in there. Slide the axle through. Washer. Nut. And you can set her down. Again, best with 2 people. I'm just out here by myself, but I bounced it on the rear wheel and got it. Again, not the best way to do it, but it'll work if you don't have a helper. Then, if we look back here, so you've got a zip tie here. Kickstand. It'll stay upright by itself. Then we can go ahead and tighten up that front axle. There we go. The front number plate just snaps in. These snap around the forks. This snaps into here. And you can see there's a cutout for all the cables to go through. These looms here just kind of keep everything organized going down in there. You can put those wherever you feel they best manage the cables. Probably up here. Something like that. And last, we've got the side number plate. The one on the exhaust side over here is already on, because as you can see, it does have a fake exhaust, but I've got this one over here. And there are, if I grab my camera here, I can show you a little better. There are those two bolts there that are backed out here and here. Match up to this bracket, just like that. Use the Allen wrench provided, tighten it up. There is our number plate. That's assembly done. That's all it takes. Now they do give you this little screwdriver so that you can pull this cover off right here. I'll bring you in for a close-up. So what this switch does is it switches you from low mode to high mode, and they say it's 140-minute runtime here, 65-minute runtime here. They suggest that only older children use the high mode. We'll see how that works with my daughter. But then you've got your on-off switch here, a little bit of tape over it, but there's the on-off switch. On. Flip the pegs down. Let's see if it's actually got any charge in it. And it does. So another thing you might want to do just before your kid rides it is go through and check all the bolts. You know, the factory probably put it together right, but are you going to risk your kid's safety on that? So another reason to have an actual full Allen wrench set. Checking the swing arm bolts, foot peg bolts, these bolts up here for the steering. You know, just go through and check it all. It'll take you 5 minutes, and if your kid's not running around nipping at your ankles, when can I ride it? When can I ride it? It's a good thing to do. You also might want to check the chain tension. Feels pretty good on here. So, like the manual says, go ahead and plug it in for 12 hours, charge it up. Let your kids have fun. One last thing I forgot to mention is adjusting the brakes. They should be fine from the factory, but always worth checking. You know, you don't want your kid going right through your fence. They adjust just like regular bicycle brakes. They're just cable operated brakes that pinch a brake disc. So after you check the brakes, let them rip. Next episode of Kory's Rides, you'll probably get to see my daughter riding this, and she'll tell you what she thinks of it. Of course I was gonna try it.